Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session on Davos Cyber Future Dialogue 2024. My name is Lingraj Patil, and I'm the Executive Chair at the Purple Book Community. And now I have pleasure of hosting Brooke Schoenfield. Brooke Schoenfield, he's the Chief Technology Officer at Resilient Software Security, and he's a author and co-author of six books on software security. So he's a guru in software security, as you can tell, and he has led multiple programs on software security as well. He most recently he was a keynote speaker at the Global OWASP conference, and I had the pleasure of watching it. It was insightful as well as very informative and had a lot of wit in it. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. And also have the pleasure of working with Brooke Schoenfield as part of the Purple Book community. We have worked on projects on software security maturity, measuring the maturity of a software security program. He's an expert in software security that I respect a lot. Brooke, welcome.
Thank you very much, and always great to talk to you, Raj. Always great.
Yeah. So, Brooke, the topic of software security is quite relevant in today's time. And now that we are here for the Davos Cyber Future Dialogue, so what comes to your mind? What's stood out in your mind from 2023?
There are three things, and they do come together, so bear with me. Number one, the increasing and continual repeating compromises. Now, we only hear about the big ones, the ones that make headlines, but for every big one you hear, there are some number that aren't being reported or that are buried in the back pages or whatever and don't get reported. Now, with the new United States SEC, Security Exchange Commission rules, we'll hear more of those because they have to report any material if they're a public company. But still, the pace of compromise continues seemingly unabated, despite the billions that people are spending on security. So what's the deal there? We're going to come back to that. There is a deal there, and it's not because people aren't spending wisely or that people are dumb or not trying. That's not the problem. The other thing is the obvious elephant in the room, if you will, which is the march of AI. Suddenly we are using generative AI tools, at least trying to use them, everywhere. It's become almost a level of, well, why should we do this in the old deterministic way when we can get an LLM or a large language model to do it pretty well or very well, rather than programming for months, years to create a deterministic program that would do it. And that has suddenly exploded. Now, I know it's been a march, but I think 2023 will be seen as a watershed year when that happened, when suddenly AI became real enough for people to really use. And the third thing, and this is something I discovered for that keynote you mentioned, I really wanted to get the statistics right. Approximately 7/8 of us on this planet are now using software. It is perhaps one of the most broadly used human inventions, human tools. Why? Because it's so plastic and elastic and allows us to do so many different functions, so many different things, to support so many of our ways of living, our life ways. And when I say 7/8, I mean herders out in Central Asia who are riding horses to move their herds. How do you think they communicate with the home base? How do you think they know what weather is coming? They're looking on their smartphones. And same, I mean, software, people have been saying software is eating the world. Well, yeah, I think we've been eaten. And now we have to face the fact, literally, that we can't prove it's correct. And therein lies the problem. There's some basic computer science I'm not going to go into now, but there's some basic computer science that says it's very hard to prove that a piece of software is absolutely correct. What we can prove is we can find bugs. And
Yeah.
so, look at that. You've got very wide distribution across all of humanity in many different life ways, along with a new kind of software that makes it look far too easy to build more AI,
Yeah.
along with the fact that people find it very easy to take advantage of those errors, i.e. vulnerabilities, i.e. compromises.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you see? I mean, you highlighted the three big trends that we saw in 2023, right? So how do you think 2024 will shape up? So what are the things that we learned to hopefully make 2024 better, smarter, and maybe more secure also, right? So what do you foresee?
Well, I'm hoping, I'm praying, I literally am praying that security practitioners will start to realize, and this is a bit of a call to action, and I'll get to that in a minute, but I'm hoping that we realize we have to climb out of I know the daily grind is tough for us in security because we're faced with incidents, we have to manage things, we're working by risk, and we know it isn't perfect, and we do our best. But I think we have to also climb out and start saying the truth. I can't guarantee this is going to be great. Number one, that's going to be perfect. And start thinking about lots of defense in depth strategies. I think we have to realize that most people writing software are not working at major enterprises. One estimate I've seen is that there are 27 million programmers right now, más o menos, more or less, on planet Earth. And then I saw another estimate from GitHub, 100 million. Well, let's just say it's somewhere between those two numbers. And it doesn't matter because most of them don't work at the Intels and the Ciscos and the Microsofts of the world. And so we have to realize we have to get to those people so that we don't constantly chasing stuff. So I'm hoping people climb out of their bubbles a little bit and start, those people who are good start teaching, start advocating, start making sure that anybody who learns to program also learns that there are security risks that they have to deal with, and then make securing software a lot easier. And I'm hoping AI will play in that. In the meantime, AI is just more software which can be misused. So,
Yeah.
we pile the problem at the same time that we may have some fixes. We've got to make software security easier. We just have to make it really easy for not just the companies, and I know we all have to make a living, but not just big companies, but for the startup sitting there just starting to produce their software. They have to do some reasonable things, and we have to tell them what those reasonable things are. And I think that those are the trends that we need to work with because there's going to be more. There's just going to be more. What we saw in 2023, AI is just going to accelerate that because now people can produce code without being coders.
Correct.
That is the fundamental big shift here. I can produce an entire application without knowing the first thing about security, about coding, about anything. And that's a blessing because we'll get a lot more functions, but it's a curse because the AI doesn't necessarily know what's secure or not.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So that's where the education about why software security is important, and also then maybe you can use AI as much as it can be a threat. It can also be part of the solution itself, right? So, all right. So, okay, that's good. And so now, if we were to come to the uh, call to action for the community, what would be the call to action that you have?
Well, for security people, realize that just because we're running as fast as we can in our own space, we really need to think a little bit more globally and take our skills and help other people and help get out. Those people who have skills to share, please share. And if you see a problem, careers are made on solving major problems. If you see a problem in security and you have a group of friends, go chase it. Just the effort will teach you a lot. So those for security people. For other people, especially at something like World Economic Forum, realize that you can't just say this problem's solved because I have a chief information security officer and they have a team. We really have to take this seriously. I don't know that we're at existential problem level yet, but we could go there if we don't get a handle on software security. Why? Because, as again, I reiterate, humans are becoming highly dependent on software working correctly. And
Yeah.
it doesn't always.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's definitely AI software and then getting people ready to use it in a secure manner, right? Those are the themes that I got out of this. Brooke, thank you so much for joining the dialogue.
Thank you very much for hosting me. You
All
take
right.
care.
Thank you.